Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that there's no such thing as coincidences or mistakes. And we are here to share our life experience on that with you. And my name is Deb Miller.
Hello, everybody. Does it feel better when you sing it?
Yeah,
Does
we're
it feel
singing
better
our
when you
way through
sing?
the day. Yes.
Hi, everybody. Susan Doyle. Nice to see you, girls.
Hello. Hello, Queens. I'm Kristen Longmore. Nice to see you. Happy
Nice.
Friday.
Yes, happy
Happy Friday.
Friday.
Happy
So we're all
Friday
in
in,
we're
in
all in the
July.
Northeast. Yeah.
Still.
Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to be here and not in I talked to my mother this morning in Florida. She's like, it's gonna feel like 114 today. I was
Ew.
like,
Queen.
Oh, bleh.
I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I know
I
Sue likes it when her skin feels like it's peeling off. I love
Yeah,
that.
I do. I love it when it's so hot and you feel like your skin is just melting.
Ugh.
I love it.
it's humid there. It's gross. It's hard for people to breathe. It's hard for people to walk. But it's the whole
Yeah, yeah.
country. It's just
Yada, yada,
insane.
yada.
I mowed the
Whatever.
Yeah.
lawn yesterday and it was whatever, 85 and humid.
It
Yeah.
was
I
really humid yesterday.
was my whole entire t-shirt, it was like a maroon t-shirt, was just, it was like there wasn't a splotch on it that wasn't saturated with.
Ew.
So
Love it.
disgusting.
Fucking love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
whatever. It's a good workout. It's part of my
It
yeah.
is.
regimen.
It
So
is.
I like
That
doing
makes me a very uncomfortable. Like not thinking about
Even just
sweating, but
thinking about it, let alone it being it.
yeah, it just
She can't even
um
think. She can't even think about sweating, let
it.
alone
I
sweat.
No,
don't it's
right.
I don't like being uncomfortable in the least bit. Mm-mm. So
Well,
um
so this will be sort of old news by the time this is uploaded. However, our girl Debbie had her first official speaking engagement 2 days ago I'm super proud of you. I'm
thank
really proud
you.
of you.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
So it's my first official speaking engagement since I launched my speaking engagement
Correct.
tour, but I have done other speaking engagements. But what was really special about this one, and it kind of
It
goes
was
to the topic that we're going to be discussing today,
it
is
was a full circle moment, by the way.
it
Full
w-
circle moment for you.
yes. So I went to rehab at Rushford, which is a rehab in Middletown. I did
For
not want
those
to
of us,
go.
for those of you who are listening internationally, that's in Connecticut.
Oh, in Connecticut. Yeah, Middletown, Connecticut for our international
International
listeners.
For our international
subscribers.
listeners,
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. We're at
We.
Middletown, Connecticut. So, now I had been to Rushford when I first launched the book to speak to the women there that were our patient clients there. So I had been there prior, but this was a really unique situation because this time I was asked to come back and speak to the clinicians at Rushford and then some surrounding rehab centers. So there was probably about 30 people that came in, and they every month they have guest speakers, but they're usually other clinicians. But this time they asked me to come in, and I was able to kind of give them a viewpoint from what it was like for me to walk into their doors for, you know, because I needed help. Now, granted, this was 30 years, or 30 years ago, it was 20, 21 years ago. But nothing, aside from the people and the clinicians, nothing in that place has changed. Not the carpet,
Yeah.
not the setup. So it was very, I don't want to say it was triggering, but like I asked to use the restroom and I was like, "Oh, I remember this restroom."
Oh
Like
gosh.
yeah,
nothing was changed.
did you have like a visceral response to the environment that
I a little bit the smell of it, it's like these things. Sometimes I'll be in a public restroom and they'll have the same soap that Rushford had, and I can smell it, and I'm like, I'm brought back there.
Mm.
But this was it was just different, but it was lovely. It was, and I hope that the conversation I had with them was helpful to them. They said it was, um, but I don't know if they were just being nice, but I really hope it was because, you know, one of the things that I realized when I was in there was how different how much I've grown. I mean, yes, I've matured, I've aged, all of that. But the way that I processed information then is very different from the way I process it now. And I also, I don't know, I was able to be really honest about things that I knew could have been possibly a little bit upsetting to them, but they took it really well. So I'll give you an
Such as,
example.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So when I first was taken to rehab to detox, I went against my will. I was like, I'll go to rehab. That's not a problem. But I'm going to the one in Malibu where it's on the beach and they serve you, you get massages and fine dining. Like that was what I wanted. But
Love it.
I took my last fistful of pills one night and I woke up hours later and I had no more to take. So I went into full withdrawal. And my boyfriend at the time, um, didn't know what to do with me. He tried to bring me to the hospital. No, he tried to bring me to a rehab center. The first one, they were like, she's too far gone. So take her to the hospital. And he's like, I don't want to take her to the hospital. They'll put her in a psych unit. So,
Mm.
anyways, he called my dad, and my dad said, bring her to Rushford. We have a bed waiting for her. So off to Rushford I go. So by the time I get there, it's, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm in full withdrawal. I am shaking. I am sweating. I am so uncomfortable. I'm nauseous. I've got a terrible headache, all of the things. And I'm just sitting at the desk, and she's taking at the intake desk, and I'm just a mess. And I'm like, hunched over. And the lady says to me, look, if you can't sit up straight, we're not going to be able to do this intake and you're going to have to leave. And
Ooh,
I'm like, I can't
work.
leave. Like, I need help. But she was so rude and so uncaring. Now, I get it, it was 4 o'clock in the morning and it's like, oh, here comes another one. After the intake, she made me take a shower and it was like a cold shower. And I
Oh,
didn't have any clothes to change into. I didn't know. I didn't pack a bag. I had no idea what it was going to be like going to rehab. Like I'd never been before. So I literally was in the clothes I was wearing for days and a cold shower, I was supposed to bring soap. I didn't know that. Like it was just such an uncomfortable situation. And all I wanted was somebody to like look at me and say, it's going to be okay. We got you,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I didn't get any of that. And I was, so I explained that. And the other thing that happened to me that was very detrimental that I never forgot was, um, my counselor, after being there for 3 weeks, my counselor said to me, I'm not signing off on your paper. I wasn't court ordered to go there, but my lawyer was like, if you go into rehab, there's a better chance that I can get you out of these 6 felonies. If not, you're going to jail. I was going to go to jail for a long time. But he said, if we can show the judge that you completed rehab, then you'll have a better chance of just being on probation. And the therapist at Rushford said, I'm not signing off on this. You did nothing to show me that you're going to remain sober. She said, all you did was spend your time wanting to like help other people, get to know other people. You didn't focus on yourself at all. And I was like,
This was at the end. Sorry, Deb. At the
yeah, this
end
was at
of
the
your
end. This was
stay.
like my discharge
Oh my
day. And she
God.
was
Okay.
like, I'm not signing off. I was like, what? I've been here for 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm doing all the things. And So when I said this during the speech the other day, like there were gasps from them, like, oh, what? Somebody said that to me, and I was like, but here's the thing, and I didn't know it now, but I know it. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. Part of recovery is helping another human being. And why I was so in tune to other people was because I knew nothing about addiction or alcoholism. And it fascinated me that these people from all different walks of life we were all there for the same reason. And I just wanted to get to know them and like connect with them and be like, because I felt like kindred spirit with another human being. And I hadn't felt that way in years. So now when we're in the program of recovery, we're told to do um, service work, which means working with another addict or alcoholic, because it helps us to stay sober. And ultimately, that was what I was doing in rehab, and I got punished for it. So, anyways, I ended up having to go to all these extra classes and do all this extra outpatient stuff because she didn't sign off on my paperwork, obviously.
So did you leave after the 21 days or did she make you stay?
No, I had to leave. My insurance was kicking me out. I would have stayed. I wanted to stay. I was
So
like
you stayed
terrified
and
of
then had
leaving.
sort of like all these other boxes to check for her to
Well, I
sign off
left. I
on.
left because my insurance company told me, but the court, my lawyer then said, all right, now we got to have you do this, 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 and this to prove that, because she wouldn't sign off saying that I completed the rehab.
And that's
So
when you did your IOP or Wheeler
yeah,
or
that's when
whatever.
I did
Yeah.
my IOP, and I had to meet with like these people. I don't know, whatever. It was like, it was fine because I knew I wasn't going backwards. And I was like, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I'm not going to start using again. And but I was able to be really honest with them about certain things that resonated with me and other things that didn't. One of them also was I never felt, because I was only like taking pills, I wasn't shooting heroin, I wasn't smoking crack, that I didn't feel worthy of having a place there because I knew that I felt that people would just kind of make fun of me, like, what do you know? You're a suburban mom, just a pill popper, when all these other people were like serving jail sentences at the rehab because, they were heroin users and holding people up at gunpoint, like all of these really terrible things. And so I was like, there's people that are going to be in your program that feel that they're not sick enough to be there, but they are. So, but they might be made to feel like, oh, you're not a daily IV drug user. What do you know about addiction? Like I was able to share all of that kind of stuff. And they really heard it, and they told me that they're implementing new kind of programs and everything. And
Nice.
yeah, it was really
Good
good.
for you.
I think it's so important for the medical staff to understand addiction, like
Yeah.
really understand it, because people who have been through it, that's why we have AA meetings and NA meetings, they get it. Like you said, I recently spoke at Coventry House in Hartford, and the clientele was all Hartford, people of color, street people, like heroin. I didn't do any of that. But one of the things I said to them is, we're all the same. We're very different in our life, but, and they got it. They understood. But
Yeah.
sometimes these doctors and counselors, if they don't have the personal experience, can't can't understand it. So it's so great that you're educating the staff. You know what I
They
mean?
have to
I
hear
feel
it.
they
And they
have
have to
to.
know that, like, and this is kind of the topic what we're going to be talking about is like, can people really change? Can they really change? And I get it. It's frustrating for people in that line of work because there's the frequent flyers, they call them, the people that come in and they detox and then they leave, and then 2 weeks later they're back in, or they're court ordered to be there. So they're getting a lot of people that are in there that really aren't interested in changing or building their life. They're just doing what what needs to be done so they can get their next fix or get out of the parents or the police get out of their hair or whatever it might be. There's all different reasons. But we're taught in AA, and I'm doing this with my therapist right now. Like, I had a significant mental health crash recently, and the way that I was reacting and my thoughts were not clear, and they just I have to retrain my brain right now. I had to do it when I first got sober, and I have to do it again now because my reactions weren't, and my actions and reactions weren't fitting the scenario. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
That
So
retrain my brain is,
I got to retrain my brain.
yeah, key.
And
So
I
is that real change? I think so.
it's real, it is absolutely real change if we can, like with any other habit that forms, after a while of doing it, your brain automatically does it. It's the beginning parts, that first 21 days or however long it
Hmm.
takes, that you have to do the pause. You have to
Hmm.
stop and be like, okay, I want to say this, but I know that that's might be a little inappropriate. So I got to pause and think about it, take a step back, do whatever I need to do, and then go, like, tell myself this is the way you need to react to that. And then after a while, you just start reacting. You don't have reacting the right way. You don't have to think about it anymore. Um,
So
you know,
in AA with the 12 steps, and do they actually preach is a strong word, but I can't think of anything else right now. Change, or are you amending your ways? Like, so do they say in order to remain clean and sober, you have to change?
yeah, because our first thought of a reaction is reaching for a drink or a drug. So if we
Yeah.
want to remain abstinent, we have to stop. That's no longer an option. All right, my second thought is I'm going to act out because I can't do what I really want to do, which is grab a drink
Hmm.
or a drug.
Mhm.
And then, okay, I can't act out because that's not the proper way that human beings behave. So now I need to tell myself to take a step away or whatever and rethink and react the right way.
So I'll give you an example. This is, I have a new sponsee and she smokes actual cigarettes, right? Vape,
Hmm.
I'm a former smoker for the audience. And it was the hardest thing I quit. So we were outside and she said, "Do you care if I smoke?" And I said, "Nope." I said, "I love the smell of cigarettes. I'd smoke if I could." But my brain has been trained, as it was with drugs and alcohol. Like you said it, Deb, I can't do it. What? Pause, move a muscle, change a thought. And most important, think the cigarette through. What happens when I pick up one cigarette? Just give me one, which is what I used to do all the time with everything, and do now, I think, with sugar. I think I have an addiction to sugar. And I think, the best solution for me is to stop eating sugar, but I'm not ready yet. So whatever. But I couldn't take one cigarette from her because then tomorrow I'd be buying a pack. And then how am I
Hmm.
going to run? And then I'm going to die and blah, blah, blah. But thinking it through, like that's how I think it
Gonna die.
through. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to die. Like it's going to kill me. It's going to ruin my health, so many important things we learn in AA, like that: move a muscle, change a thought, pause, think it through, all those things. You just learn and it just becomes rote eventually. It's just second nature that you do, like this example of the other day with being in front of someone who had a cigarette that smelled good to me, like that's something I can no longer do. So how am I going to change my behavior
Yeah.
from days of yore, so to speak? So,
And it's not even necessarily like um it's more for me, it's more my verbal reaction to
mm,
things. I've got to
thank you.
really, I have to really step back and say, okay, is that the correct response for the stimulus that's coming at me? And most of the time, at this point right now, it's not because my thoughts are still very jumbled by me getting off the antidepressants, which I'm going to say again, I do not recommend to anybody.
Do not try this at home.
Do not
Do not try this at
try
home.
that at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think real change is absolutely possible, but I do believe that it is a lifelong practice. So even when the changed behavior becomes habitual, I do believe that there needs to be periodic check-ins with how it's going.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
You're right. That's, I mean, for
because I
AA
don't think,
meetings.
if it really is against like who you are inside,
Yeah.
that inside, you may have sort of gained tools to change an undesirable behavior or a thought pattern or something, but you can never rest on your laurels. I mean, it's
Mm-mm.
like I remember you saying to me, Debbie, one time, your addiction is out in the parking lot doing push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think change is possible, but I don't think the work that goes into the changed behavior ever stops, ever can stop.
So, like, let me ask you this. If you're with a guy who's a cheater, do you feel like they're capable of stopping that behavior?
Uh,
Yes, with work to change that behavior. But I believe that the minute they stop that work, and it doesn't have to be like the work that you do in the beginning looks very different than the work that you do a year or two in, right? But I don't think that work can ever stop, um, because that behavior will rear its ugly head.
Resurface. Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
like it's
Yeah.
kind of how you, and I'll talk about this because I did behave that way, was
Yeah.
cheated. Um, if it if it comes up, my natural inclination is to that's how I would roll to solve a problem or make myself feel better in a relationship. Sue is exactly right. If I don't take the steps, if I get the fuckets, like I would with a cigarette or a pill, to just pick it up, then I'm gonna do that. So do I think I am inherently prone to those behaviors to be,
Yeah, so
whatever.
I think that's an interesting point of view because I do think that people are naturally prone to certain behaviors, whether it's the way they were born or the way that they were raised, enabled, spoken to, anything like that. But I think before any of the work happens, it's like everything else. It's like getting sober. It's like, or getting clean is that person has to recognize that their behavior
Mm,
is undesirable, that they don't want to behave like that any longer. So
Mm.
they have to actually recognize that the destructive behavior or the behavior that they want to change.
that's
You know what
exactly
I mean?
like,
And you can't just be like, somebody's wife or girlfriend saying, if you don't stop cheating, I'm going to leave you. And then they just sort of like hold on tight and white knuckle
knuckling.
through things, right?
Mm.
They have to see that the behavior, or husband, that their behavior is destructive to something that they want.
Mm.
then they need to go about, basically mapping out a behavior change trajectory, but they can never leave the process of the
Yeah,
work.
it's always going to be a work in process. I mean, I it's never been something that I've done, and I think because the time it was done to me when I was married was so painful that it just it just scared me. It was like one of those things that I don't want anybody to ever feel the way I'm feeling right now. And I don't know. I also feel like with anything else, it can be hereditary. I know we're kind of focusing on the cheating right now, but if you're watching your parents do it or your father do it, there's a lot bigger chance that
Yeah. I mean,
you
so it
and then,
has to do with, the messages that were sent to you in your environment
yeah,
as to,
How to
it's
deal with things, how you
right. I
learn
mean,
how to deal, cope.
there are a ton of people that think a leopard doesn't change their spots.
yeah. And
So
I
I
think
do you
there's,
guys
sorry, go ahead.
I just had a question because I thought of this as we were talking about behaviors. Like when I didn't want to change who I inherently was. I liked my personality. I liked who I was, how I treated people, for the most part. It was my behaviors that I wanted to change. It wasn't
Right.
me as a person. Like I like I like my character. I don't like my character defects.
Mm.
So those are the things like, do you think
So yeah,
that's
there's
kind
a
of my
difference
question?
there. Do I
Like,
think people can change their behaviors? Yes. Do I think people can change intrinsically and hereditarily who they are?
no, right?
That's a tough one for me to get on board with.
What do you
You know what
think?
I mean? Like, let's just take cheating out of the equation. Can an introvert become an extrovert?
Right,
Can they
exactly.
change
So
that?
great
The
example.
desire could be there, but it's not bad behavior. It's just them literally trying to change like their DNA makeup.
Their
I don't know if
Yeah.
spouse.
that can happen.
Right.
I know it's like asking somebody to grow 2 inches. It's like you
Correct.
can't ask them to do
Correct.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
think destructive behaviors can be changed with a lot of work and a lot of diligence and a lot of attention.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm living proof that that can change, but I'm also living proof that without being vigilant about staying on top of it, it's
Correct.
really easy to scoot back into the insecurities and the whatever, the negative
Mm-hmm.
parts of me that I don't care
Right.
for. And then I react based on that happening in my head rather than really being able to
Yeah.
look at what's happening in front of me, and it is very
Mm-hmm.
similar with, I mean, and I'm thinking the examples I'm thinking of are like silly, like they're like, if somebody bumps into you while you're standing in line and instead of being like taking it personally, it's like, okay, so that person just lost their footing or whatever, like, and just move on. And, or if somebody cuts you out and off in traffic, like nothing is ever personal, and we have to
Right.
kind of step away from that and say, that person that just cut you off wasn't doing that intentionally.
I
And I
always
know
think
Kristen
of
has a problem with that because she,
I do, but I'm trying to change my behavior. Like with
mm,
people who leave their effing carts in the middle of the aisle and like they're wandering about like do you think you are the only fucking person on the planet? You can see I get animated and angry about it. But what I decided to start doing, and the same on the road, is our beloved Steve, okay, was the worst driver when he was having a conversation with anyone in the car. I remember we would be like, there's someone behind you and you're like
yeah.
clueless, but he's the nicest person in the world. He's
Hmm.
helped so many people. He's, would give you the shirt off his back. He's just clueless. So if I can picture the person on the road that's driving like an asshole in my brain and say, that's put Steve in the driver's seat, then maybe I
Yeah.
can change my behavior and my reaction. And, I try to gently in the supermarket. I did it this morning. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. No problem. I
Yeah.
speak up. I don't
Yeah.
mutter under my breath and go, you fucking selfish piece, like
Yeah. It's so
whatever.
important.
We don't know what's going on with
You
that person.
don't know what's going on. And we've talked about this before too. And it's like, I always say to Kevin, he's screaming at everybody that's driving to. So I'm like, that's somebody's mom. That's somebody's nana.
Mhm.
Or if it's a young girl, like that's somebody's daughter or niece. Like,
Yeah,
don't,
learning to drive.
yeah, just like chill out, but it's not easy,
Yeah.
especially if you're not in a state of mind where you're able to kind of just let it roll off your back. But
Yeah, but the desire to change has to be there.
yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And I think it's important for people to know if they are trying to, if they're struggling with something that they want to change, it is 100% you're able to do that, and
And it's,
it
but realizing that it's a process and realizing that it's not a straight line. I mean, just because you decide you want to change, that's just sort of like admit, the first step when you admit that you're powerless to alcohol.
Mhm.
So once you admit that, then you can move into the process of changing
Right.
your behavior around and your thought process around alcohol,
Yeah,
right?
and I
And
think
it's the
that,
same thing with anything else.
yeah, you have to, and it's hard because people's egos get in the way and they're like, it's not me, it's
Well, that's the
them.
other thing. That's the other thing. It's like, okay, well, I decided to change. Why isn't it happening?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's
Or I
like,
don't
you
have to
have to put the
change. I'm
work in.
perfect the way I am. It's everybody else,
I'm
and
sober and yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's I don't have this problem and
but
you
it's a process and it's not a straight line. And just
no.
when you, and here's the other thing, in my opinion and my um experience is just because you decide and you're doing the work doesn't mean that it's going to happen when you want it to happen. You know
Mm-mm.
what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So like I have, my go-to reaction for most things is anger, so it is a moment to moment practice to pump the brakes,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and I don't know if pumping the brakes will ever the time in between I have to pump the brakes will get longer and longer and longer where my check-ins don't have to be as frequent, but the commitment to not be like that is there. So it's not really a burden to
Hmm.
employ the practices to change.
Yeah, because you want it. You want to
Right.
change.
I
Correct.
also feel like too, so like drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, food, those things, that's the easy part, putting that shit down, right? Quitting
Correct.
alcohol, quitting eating, whatever, picking up you know, anyway, putting that down. It's the behaviors, especially reactionary, like anger, depression, whatever our reaction, cheating, whatever our reaction, our go-to is, that's where the real work comes in because that's what caused us to drink and use and you know
See,
grab
I
for.
think what it is, I think even more so than that is the story that you told yourself around why that happened. For example, your husband cheats on you, and the story that you create in your mind is, I'm not worthy of somebody loving me.
Yeah.
That's even harder to
Yeah.
change than the actual behavior or the reaction to the behavior. So if somebody cheated on me, I would get really angry, but deep down inside, I am hurt because the person who did that to me doesn't think I'm worthy of being a non-cheater or whatever. Do you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I think it's what's even harder than the process of changing behaviors and reactions is rewriting the story that you wrapped around it.
Yeah,
So true.
that is so true. You're
So
right
true.
about that. That is the hardest part.
And you carry that. I carried it for years
My
and
God, you
years.
carry it all. Yeah.
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 And that's what causes a
Because
lot
that's
of,
what shapes your reactions.
that's right, the future reactions. Even when you
Hmm.
feel like, no, I've got a handle on that, and all of a sudden it
Right.
creeps up. It's like, oh boy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. So,
Lifelong
well,
Yeah.
process, right?
yeah, I mean, hopefully the message today is we are capable of change. It can happen. It's you're a work in progress, and as long as you keep on, aiming for that goal, you'll get there.
Hmm. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Good talk, girls.
Yes, loves.
Good talk.
Well,
Yeah.
we will see you next week. And if you
Yes.
want to check out my speaking tour dates, it's deblawlessmiller.com. You can order my book, One Little Pill, on Amazon. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
please, if you like the show, follow the show, share the show, write us, message us on social media. You can find us on Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. So subscribe, just hit the little button to subscribe.
Just do
Yes,
it.
And
do it now.
do
Just do
it.
it.
Do it, man. Do it. Peer
Okay,
pressure.
namaste, everybody. Love you.
Namaste. Have a
Love you
great
guys.
day. Love
Bye.
you guys.
Bye.